Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making a delicious melt-in-your-mouth strawberry cake. So let's get started. First off, we're making a strawberry reduction with fresh berries, of course. This is gonna flavor our cake layers and give it a beautiful soft pink color as well. So we're just gonna hull them, cut them in half, and then we're gonna get to blending. And we're not there yet, but I have to tell you, the frosting for this cake is mind-bendingly delicious. It has fresh strawberries throughout. They're like whipped into the frosting, and it has cream cheese too. We're using 1 pound of fresh strawberries for this. If you want, you could definitely use frozen strawberries. Just thaw them and drain as well. I'm gonna add these into like a little mini food processor. A blender will definitely work though. So we have our delicious strawberry puree, but this has so much water in it and we need to concentrate the flavor. We're gonna place our strawberries over medium heat for about 25 minutes. If you're using frozen strawberries, 45 minutes. This is simmering away over medium heat. It really just needs like frequent occasional stirring so it doesn't burn. You're gonna take all the excess water out of here so it's pure strawberry concentrated flavor. And if you want, you could make this a day or two ahead of time and just keep it in the fridge. It doesn't have to be made the same day, and it does take a couple minutes. So you can break the process apart into a couple days if you're super busy but still want delicious baked goods like I do. I love this strawberry reduction, but if you're really pressed for time and still want to make the cake, you can substitute the reduction for strawberry jam. Strawberry jam, however, has a lot of extra sugar added. So go ahead and 1, strain the jam so there's no clumps, and 2, reduce the sugar added to the cake by 1/3 cup. So it's reduced, you can see it's really holding a streak, and a lot of that water is gone, so the flavor is gonna be nice and concentrated. We're gonna plop this into a bowl or a pan. I want this to cool down really quick because your reduction needs to be close to room temperature before you use it, so it just needs some time. Unlike raspberries, which really give you the most beautiful, soft pink color ever, when you cook strawberries, they go kind of grayish. So I did add a drop of red food coloring to this, in part because I want the cake to have a beautiful, soft pink color and not be kind of grayish, because a grayish strawberry cake puts people ill at ease. I put this into a large, shallow dish. I'm gonna spread it around, and it can cool on the counter, or you could pop it into the fridge, but let it cool down just a bit first, because this is steaming hot. After a while, your reduction is cooled. Look how thick that is, but I just want to show you, it's actually still a liquid. It just looks like it's totally solid. We're gonna get the dry ingredients together. You need to set that oven to 350 Fahrenheit so it's nice and warm. And in a large bowl, we're gonna add our flour, salt, etc. Starting with 330 grams or 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'd also like a teaspoon of kosher salt for contrast, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 2½ teaspoons of baking powder for the rest of our leavening. So we're just giving this a quick whisk, and we're gonna set it aside. Now we're gonna grab a mixer out. You could use a stand mixer like I am today, or you could use a bowl and a hand mixer. Into the bowl of my mixer, I'm adding 1 cup, 2 sticks, 227 grams of unsalted room temperature butter. And just so you can see, I can press into it. It's yielding to the touch with not too much effort. My butter's all creamed up. Now I'm gonna add 2 cups or 400 grams of granulated sugar. This is gonna mix up for 5 minutes until it's nice and creamy, but let's scrape the bowl down first. I do want to remind you that if you did the shortcut and used strained jam instead of the reduction, you should have added in 1/3 cup less sugar. That'd be 1 2/3 cups. Right now, I'm separating out 4 room temperature egg whites. Egg yolks are delicious, but I want this cake to have a beautiful pale pink color, and the yolks are just too orange. So 1 more scrape down. Now on medium, and we're just gonna add those slowly. I'm also adding in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Now we have the classic dilemma of a soupy situation on top with rock hard butter underneath. So we need to scrape the bowl down and get a really nice homogeneous consistency. If you have any bits of butter that are not mixed in, they're gonna melt, and what happens is you get these pock marks in your cake or big holes. It kind of sucks. I'm gonna mix this on medium high for about a minute until it is nice and smooth and some air gets incorporated as well. In the meantime, get your flour mixture out, your reduction, and 1/2 cup of whole milk as well. That looks great. It actually looks really like just light and fluffy like a cloud, a delicious cloud. I'm measuring out half a cup of my strawberry reduction. Whenever you're making a cake, you do want to measure out all the liquids and be really precise, because if you add too much, your cake is going to be, watered down, kind of like light and fluffy is the perfect ratio of ingredients. So now while mixing on low, we're going to add the flour in about 3 batches, alternating with the milk and the strawberry reduction. It doesn't have to be precise with like exactly half of this or whatever. You're just giving all the ingredients a better chance to mix, which is why you're alternating. I'm gonna take a look at the color as well and see if I'm happy with it. If it doesn't look just right, I'll be adjusting it with a little bit of food coloring. Scraping the bowl down, very important. Doesn't even look colored on the side. I don't know, that looks pretty nice and pink. I'm gonna add in just a tiny drop. I'm really only doing it for you so you can see what it looks like. If it looks a little bright, by the way, the color fades in the bake. So if you wanna get like a nice pink, go a little pinker than you think you need and it'll all work out. That's good. Nice. 2 9-inch pans buttered and floured. Should be 3 6-inch pans if you want. I'm really only buttering this side and giving a little bit on the bottom because I'm using a parchment round. Some flour to the side. This batter smells so good. And if you look, I'll show you when it's in the pan, but there's streaks of the strawberries all throughout. It's just beautiful. I want to have the same amount of batter in each pan. Just give it a nice spread to help level it out. Same for the other pan. Weigh them really quickly if you want. Okay, they're basically the same. I'm almost ashamed to show you this, but these ancient cake strips still work, so I haven't replaced them yet. They predate the channel. That's how old they are. They're basically just wet fabric strips that you wrap around your cake pans, and they help give you a nice even bake, and the sides are a little bit softer. These cakes are ready to go into the oven, 350 for half an hour or until the centers are springy to the touch. While our cake bakes, we're gonna make this easy, delicious strawberry frosting. 1 cup of butter, 226 grams, 1 package of cream cheese, also 226 grams, it's 8 ounces for each. We're gonna mix these up until they're nice and creamy and combined. And while they mix, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, as well as a nice pinch of salt. One of my pet peeves is a baked good that has an improper amount of salt. If you have something sweet, you need a little bit of salt to help balance it and wake everything up. It really helps you taste the flavors. Scrape that bowl down. Cream cheese and frostings is so good. You can add cream cheese to almost any frosting. Just sub in the cream cheese for the butter. Usually it's a 1-to-1 ratio. And if you want extra Preppy Kitchen baking points, try using some mascarpone in a frosting. Ooh. Once your butter and cream cheese is all mixed up with the vanilla and salt, we're gonna add 1 cup of powdered sugar at a time. And for this recipe, I would use 6 cups of powdered sugar. That's 720 grams to start. You could add more if it's too runny or not sweet enough for you. This is the remaining puree that I have left. It's a little bit over 1/4 cup. Just gonna add in like a tablespoon at a time. We're gonna get a nice pretty color from the strawberries. We might add a little bit of food coloring just to amp it up, like just 1 drop. And if you don't want to use food coloring, you could definitely add in like a tiny bit of beet powder or raspberry juice. That gives you the most pretty color ever. Just like squeeze some raspberries through a sieve. That'll give you a beautiful color and the taste. You won't even really notice the raspberry note. You can see all the puree is making the frosting super wet, which is why we're gonna add more sugar in. I have about 6.5 cups of powdered sugar in here, and the frosting is looking pretty good. I actually want it to be nice and loose. Let's scrape the bowl down, and then give it one final mix. Let's give it a taste. It's so nice. The cream cheese and the strawberries are best friends. It's perfectly flavored. I actually love the color. I don't think it needs any additional dye or anything. So we're just gonna start assembling the cake. My ultra soft strawberry cakes are out of the pan, cool to the touch. It's time to assemble. Just a little bit of frosting on the bottom to hold them in place. Now, we're gonna add 1 cup of the frosting onto the first layer. This frosting has so much of the strawberry reduction in it that it's fairly soft, but that's how I like it. Smooth this out into an even layer. Add your second layer on, and it is time to completely cover this in strawberry frosting. This is such a simple old school cake, but it's a classic for a reason. This gives you bright strawberry flavors throughout in a soft melt in your mouth cake. I'm adding all the strawberry frosting on top and we'll work it down to the side. And this cake gets finished off with really simple rustic swoops, which is exactly how my mom would decorate cakes. Work the frosting down the side. We're just going for complete coverage. Now the fun part is going through the cake and just swooping it up. So kind of lift the cake, cut into it with your palette knife, and it's gonna look so beautiful in no time. As a finishing touch, I'm just adding 3 cute little strawberries right in the center, just like that. This cake is a strawberry dream come true. All that's left is to cut it open and have a bite. I wish you could like be here with me and eat this cake because it is so pillowy, soft, and just full of strawberry flavor throughout. And that cream cheese frosting, I gotta tell you, it's practically perfect in every way. I hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and if you like this video, check out my summer cake playlist.